Is this thing on? Yep, we're live. Wow, it's been a minute since I've done this. We're still waiting for people to join in, right? I see the first wave of guys joining in. What's up, guys? Hello and welcome, everyone. What's up? What's up? We're just waiting for a bunch of you to join and then we'll start. I'll give a quick intro till then. Glory to all you United fans. I'm your host with the most, Chinmay Sharma, aka Scuba Chino. We've got a fun live session planned today. Some international collaborations coming in the house. We've got MUFC fans voice. We've got some love from Bangladesh, brother. Welcome to the show. Lots to discuss today, guys. We're going to be talking about everything from Onana, Højlund, the transfer market, Ineos. I'm good, buddy. Thank you so much for asking. And would you take Aussie at right wing? Man, guys, please keep the questions coming in today. We've got a really fun session planned. We will hopefully and very quickly be joined by Man United fans voice. Really interesting chat plan for all of you today. Do stick around. We'll try to keep it as crisp, as quick, and as fun as possible. Lots to discuss. Like I said Onana. We've got Højlund, Rashford, financial fair play, all of that stuff. Glory, Man United to you too, Kareem. Welcome again. Guys, whoever's trickling in, thank you so much. I'm going to try reading as many comments as possible. We've got some love from Saudi Arabia as well. I love this platform and how international it is. And let's just see. We're waiting for Man United fans voice has joined. I don't see but if you could just send us a quick request to add you on, we'll do that instantly. Alright, guys, I'm going to try my best to keep talking. Alright, we've got the request. Going live. Alright, so he should be on in a couple of seconds. We've got some love coming in from Italy as well. Lots to talk about today, guys. I have actually just woken up from a world-class nap because I had a working weekend. So I'll take a few seconds to wakey, eggs and bakey. And even though it's 6 p.m. here in India, I mean, can't blame a guy for loving a good old nap. But we're just waiting for Right, I have accepted it. Go live. But if you can just accept my invite, we're just waiting for you so we can go live. I see your invite. For some reason I'm not being able to accept it even when I press go live with Man United fans voice. Name a car for an edit. Right, just 1967. No, 67 is too common. I'll probably name the Ferrari FXX. There you go. Name the car for you. Alright, I see you, Man United fans voice. Alright, buddy, if you can see, if you're on, because I see you're online, can you just send us another invite because I'm not being able to accept this one. Or let me just send you one, Man United fans voice. There, I see your invite. Alright, I've sent another invite. Sorry guys, it's been a minute since I've done this. There we go.
Hey man. Hello. Can you hear me well?
Perfectly well.
Perfect.
Alright, I think this is what we love about this community of Manchester United followers is we have collaborations from people from all over the world. And it's just great to build a community, talk about issues, ups and downs. I think at the end of the day, it's the club we love. Just first of all, tell us who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to do this, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. So my name is Manolis. I live in Greece. I've been a Man United fan for my entire life. The good thing is that I have lived long enough to see the good parts of being a Man United fan. So yeah, and yeah, I'm here to discuss probably what is not such good news or interesting or nice topics, but unfortunately it is what it is.
Yeah, it's quite a shitty situation to be in, and luckily I think both of us have lived long enough to see the glory days, and I think a lot of fans tend to get stuck to that. The younger generation, unfortunately, has not much to get excited about, which is exactly why I'm wearing my '99 jersey, just to remind myself of the old days.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, thank you so much for taking the time out and doing this. Let's get right into it. let's start off with the Liverpool game. I mean, at least for me, man, I was really hoping that we'll walk through them, get the confidence up before the Wolves game. Eric Ten Hag did play his best 11, and then we made tough work out of it. Were you watching the game with your hand on your head?
Luckily, I actually didn't watch the game. Yeah, I didn't watch the game, and I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, I've been seeing the highlights and I've been reading everything mentioned on social media, of course, after the game. So from what I've understood, again, not a good game. Again, the same old boring United, full of the same old problems, regardless of having most of the players back available, regardless of playing against a fourth-tier team. Again, the same problems over and over again. It is frustrating. It is worrying. It is not good enough at all.
So let's talk about some of these problems, because they're not new problems. We've been having this unfortunate shit show for a while now, and unfortunately we have to sit through it. And we as fans, I mean, all we can do is support and watch and go through it. I think for me, some of the problems which continued yesterday was just individual players playing individual games, but there's barely any link up. I think the wingers not providing much for the strikers, the midfielders just running back and forth, the defenders running away. Are these some of the problems that you see in the team as well? And what else do you see that's not working?
Absolutely. And the problem is that we've seen the same problems throughout the entire season, with some exceptions every now and then, like the game against Chelsea. But unfortunately, nothing being good enough, or nothing good being consistent enough. Massive problems in regards to being able to control games, massive problems with huge lack of creating chances. I mean, Rasmus Højlund has been feeding off scraps throughout the entire season. Problems with progressing the ball forward in a terrible way, regardless of who is the opponent, or how the opponent is trying to pressure us. The same problems over and over again. A midfield that is, for some weird reason, trying to play man-to-man marking, which leaves us exposed, and it's terrible. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I think if just what you said, coming back to the point you made about Højlund feeding on scraps, I think he's still scoring goals here and there based on barely any pass. And there's a stat that I saw yesterday that blew my mind. Bruno Fernandes had 5 shots on goal. Anthony had 6 shots on goal. Garnacho had 6 shots on goal. Højlund, poor man, had 1 shot on goal and scored that 1 goal. So I think that just proves the point that it's baffling.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Exactly. I mean, yes, he needs more experience. Yes, he should not be the striker. A 21-year-old should not be the striker leading the front line of a club like United. But he's a good player. He has proven that he can score if he's given the chances. And yet, over and over again, we are not feeding him, like you said, almost nothing for 90 minutes. It's terrible.
Yeah, I think, again, first of all, like you said, I 100% agree with you that a 20-year-old should not be the primary main striker for Manchester United. I mean, I really miss the days when we were spoiled for choice with Berbatov, Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo, any of them, which means there was a competition. I mean, you give a 20-year-old the responsibility and say there's no one else taking your place. There's bound to be a bit of complacency after a while, which is why this January transfer window to just get a striker was essential. And is that like a massive miss for you?
Yes. I wasn't expecting anything different, though. I wasn't expecting United to be busy this January, mainly for 3 reasons. First reason is that because of FFP and PSR, for anyone that doesn't know, is the equivalent of FFP in the Premier League. PSR is profit sustainability regulations. So it's the same as FFP, but in the Premier League. So with FFP and PSR, with the rules, it made the room for spending money this January almost impossible. It was extremely limited, not just for United, but for most teams. And that is why we've seen such a quiet transfer window this January from almost every team. I think I saw a statistic a few days ago that said that this January, almost at least 10% of what was spent last January 2023 on transfers, just 10% of that has been spent this January, which shows that all teams have the same problem.
Right.
And especially after Everton's punishment, the point deduction that Everton went through, teams now have realized that if you're not careful with your financial situation, you will pay the price. There is a problem.
Yeah.
The second reason is that Manchester United at the moment are a club that is under reconstruction. Like, they are trying to pick the right people to put in the right football executive positions. So it doesn't really make sense to make decisions about spending a lot of money when the people that should be making those decisions are not in place yet. And the third reason is that, unfortunately, Erik ten Hag's position at the moment is under consideration. He is working as if he's almost an interim manager. He's trying to prove, until the summer, he's trying to prove that, yes, I am good enough to keep my job. So again, it doesn't really make sense to make decisions to spend a lot of money to buy new players to give to a manager when maybe that manager is not going to be here in 5 or 6 months. So yes, it is a little bit frustrating, but I wasn't expecting anything better.
What's your take on our manager? Because our fan base is pretty divided. I mean, I have been very, very strong and open about my feelings about Erik ten Hag. We need to back the manager. Someone like Klopp got multiple seasons. But again, there have been certain decisions he's been taking in the last few months that have really been making me question a lot of his managerial, structure. What's your take on Erik ten Hag as our manager right now?
I feel exactly the same. It's probably an older fan mentality, but I think we older fans have the mentality of backing the manager to the end. Yeah. And I've been the same with every manager that we've had after Sir Alex. I've tried to back them, and I've always not gone with the logic of, well, let's change the manager after one bad season. But exactly like you said, many decisions this season have been very worrying, and almost to the point of you can't justify them, or you can't pretend that they don't exist.
Yeah.
I still believe he's a good manager. I still believe he has what it takes to take United to the next step. He did exceptional. Last season was a season better than what we all expected. But he needs to do better, and I'm worrying that things are not going to get better. And to be honest, at this point that we are now, when it seems, like I said before, that everybody in regards to the football department at United is changing, it is almost a little bit strange if the manager stays the same when everybody around him will have changed, and especially when he's not doing a good job at the moment. I hope he manages to change the situation around, but if I had to predict, with everything that is happening at United at the moment and everyone in the football positions above or around the manager is changing, if I had to predict, I would say that in the summer we will have a manager change as well.
But who? I mean, that's another problem, right? Is we've had times where we've had a manager removed and then got a Van Gaal or got a Jose Mourinho. There's no one, at least in my
Exactly. When the last few months, I have been it's funny, I have been kind of debating with people on why we should and shouldn't keep the manager at the same time. I have found myself not arguing, but debating with people that have been saying, no, we need to change the manager. And at the same time, I've been doing the same thing with people that say we need to change the manager. And one of the reasons is exactly change the manager and bring who? It is extremely limited. And also now we will have, like Liverpool, like we found out yesterday, will be also looking for a new manager. Barcelona will be also looking for a new manager. In the summer, maybe United is in that part of teams that will be looking for a new manager, and I really, at the moment, I couldn't say for sure that I feel that, oh yeah, he, A, B, C, or D is a good fit for United. I really don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? I think out of the other clubs that you mentioned, Barcelona and Liverpool, I think even though United haven't been performing very well on paper, I think we are definitely the bigger club. Which means if we could go on and get Barata, I don't see us going and getting a big manager. But again, I think it only comes from a universe of players where there is a manager
Yeah,
available. I think City Pep has another season max and on his contract. So God knows if he wants to take over a new project, there'll be a bunch of teams that will be looking for a new
absolutely,
manager.
absolutely.
So I think again, conjecture is something we don't divulge too much into on the page, but it's good to keep our eyes open. And I'm glad to know that you're on the same page. And again, it's not like us as a community to force the audience to do something, but I think patience is just a virtue that every fan should have. I've learned the
Exactly,
hard way. I've learned the
exactly.
hard way. I'm one of those very impatient fans, and I think being on multiple
Yes,
going to host. I would be the kind of guy who would be like, the United of old, if we haven't scored in the first 20 minutes, I'll be like, what the fuck is going on? Why have this scored? And now we go 2 to 3 games without scoring a single goal, which is
yeah,
horrible.
exactly, exactly.
What's your take on Onana, by the way? I mean, it's been a topsy turvy ride for him. I mean, for me, it was a mistake letting De Gea go. I feel, but at the time, it felt right because he technically his mistake got us out of Europe. There were multiple mistakes cropping up, but then he didn't get the Golden Glove, and then we go on and get a really expensive goalkeeper who's not even playing for his country at the AFCON
Yeah.
right now.
The situation with Onana, in my opinion, is a very, it's worrying, obviously, but it is also weird. Worrying because, of course, no one can say that it has been good enough because it hasn't been good enough. It hasn't even been close to good enough. At
Yeah.
the same time, I do believe that Onana's mistakes have, in some occasions, hidden other problems, bigger problems that we've had on the pitch. Because it is natural when your keeper makes a mistake that leads to a goal in a game, then most people will focus on that mistake and we will not
Yeah.
focus on other bigger problems that we've had consistently, like we said before, the lack of control, the lack of creating chances, the terrible ways of progressing the ball. All those things that are, in my opinion, bigger problems than
Yeah.
one or two keeper mistakes. But obviously, the keeper's mistake that has led to a goal will be more emphasized more than the other problems. But again, it has not been good enough. And I think it is weird because we are talking about a goalkeeper who, for the last 4 or 5 years, consistently has been one of the best keepers in Europe.
Yeah.
He was a big part to why Inter Milan reached the Champions League final last season. And he was fantastic in the final as well. Pep Guardiola was praising him after the game. So it is very strange to see that keeper being so bad, so poor for us this season. One other point I want to make on Onana is that, and this is not like, I'm not trying to pretend that things are good, but we signed Onana and everybody was excited when we signed Onana because of his on-ball qualities, because
Yeah.
of how good he is with the ball on his feet, and because of how helpful he would be and how he would improve the way we progress the ball. And the way we try to progress the ball with Onana is completely hindering his on-ball qualities, like passing the ball one or two short passes and then kicking it long is not how you play when you have a keeper with those qualities. At the same time, because you mentioned De Gea, obviously a fantastic keeper, an amazing servant of the club. He will always be, in my eyes, and I hope in the eyes of most United fans, a legend.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a bad decision to let him go because we needed to take the next step. If Onana doesn't prove to be the right keeper, it doesn't mean that we should keep a keeper who
Exactly.
was not what we needed.
Yeah.
Maybe Onana, I mean, I would give Onana one more season, and if the situation is similar, then unfortunately he will be one more signing that failed. But that doesn't mean that we should keep someone who was great, but we needed to take the next step to evolve as a football club, like most clubs do. Most big Liverpool, Man City, most big football clubs have changed their keepers in recent years, and that was the catalyst to becoming better on the pitch and playing a better style of football.
Yeah, but that's one of my biggest problems with Eric Ten Hag. I think is it's a lot of the transfer blunders, because I somewhere feel that he probably tried to get players who he's comfortable, who've played under him, into a club that is much bigger in stature. I mean, I think even with the Onana thing, I think De Gea was not what we needed. I do agree with you. But there is a problem where United keepers, the best in the world, have come here and struggled. I mean,
Yeah,
you saw that De Gea struggled in the early part of his career. Barthez was very hot and cold, and he's a bloody World Cup
yeah,
winner.
yeah.
So I think again, similarly with transfers he's made now. Again, a lot of people blame him for the big wages that these players are earning, but the manager has nothing to do with the wages. That's the team that decides how much they come in for. But I mean, with Anthony, I think is arguably one of the worst signings we've had in the last maybe 5 years, and I think that's where the recruitment team needs to come in and do that. Is that a massive issue you've had with United as well, which is just the recruitment has been god awful pathetic?
Exactly. And to be fair, I blame the club more than
Yeah,
I blame Eric Ten Hag on that. No manager should be hand-picking specific players. The manager should be saying, I need that type of player.
yeah,
And that is why teams have scouting departments, recruitment departments that go out and bring in players that maybe most of us have never heard before.
yeah.
And they say, listen, he is the style of player that you have asked for. And here he is. And the truth is that a couple of years ago, United completely revamped the whole scouting and recruitment departments. I remember we were all excited because all these people from the scouting department, the recruiting department were changing, and we were excited. Oh, there's a new era starting. And then they hired Ten Hag and they gave him 100% full control of specifically who we will recruit. And I can't blame Ten Hag because he obviously didn't trust the people above him to make the right decisions. But at the same time, no manager should be hand-picking specific players just because he's worked with them before or he knows them from somewhere. Because being a manager now is so demanding. Football managers do not have the time to go and look at all sorts of different players around the world and know the transfer market like they should know it. So that is why clubs have scouting departments. The manager should be the one saying, I need that type of player, find me that type of player. It shouldn't be that I want that specific player. So yes, the recruitment under Eric Ten Hag has not been good enough, and Anthony is probably the highlight of that. But it should not be the manager, and I hope that this, under Ineos, I hope that this situation changes, because we cannot function like this anymore.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing people have been doing is just blaming the Glazers, which I do completely believe. I think it's an absolute shit show with them. I mean, taking out 30 million when we're getting destroyed by FFP charges just to pay their legal. And that's the thing, right? I mean, ideally, I won't get into that too much because it's already been discussed. But ideally, if it's the money is going to the Glazers, why is United paying for their legal fees, etc.? Which is a big reason why we didn't get anyone in Jan, and with Martial just out now with surgery. I mean, I shudder to think if Højlund does get injured, a 20-year-old helming United's attack gets injured, it's Rashford taking over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to Rashford in a second. God knows what is going to happen with Rashford after his night out in Belfast. So I think we've had issues at the back, we've had issues in the midfield, and now our strike force is looking pathetic.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It's terrible. And with Rashford, I don't exactly know what has happened. Eric Ten Hag was asked about it after the game yesterday, and he didn't say a lot, but what he said, I think, painted the whole picture. He was asked about the situation, and he said it is an internal matter, and I will take care of it. Yeah, and that says everything we need to know. Personally, I did a short video when I heard about it yesterday. I did a short video and I put it in my stories, just what came out of my mind at that moment. So I'm just going to say the same things. Personally, I am sick to death with all these off-field dramas surrounding Manchester United players over and over and over again. And the main reason for these off-field problems and dramas is a broken culture that exists for many years inside Manchester United. And Ineos have a massive job to do, and one of their main priorities should be to completely tear down this problematic culture. Because if they don't, we will not become a serious football club again.
Yeah.
It is very simple.
Yeah. And I completely agree with you. It's literally, I mean, it used to be so much fun to watch United, wait for their games, and then the weeks in between, you're looking at players to buy or stuff they're doing outside football. Now it just seems like every time you switch on the TV or open your phone, there are cases being filed, people crashing their cars, toxicity, player power.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very slowly becoming a cesspool of just absolute shit piled over shit. And I think there's only so much the fans can take it. I think the only good part of this is a lot of fans have become smart, intelligent, are seeing, reading between the lines, and so it's good to see that. But again, I think it's only Ineos that has the key in their hands to change this. Now, I think the easiest way would just be a mass exodus, but I think it's not that easy. You can't just
No.
destroy the entire team and rebuild. So tell me, I'll throw you a few names and tell me what you think about this coming Jan. I mean, Jan is done. The coming summer. Would you reckon we keep them or we sell them? So I'm going to start off easy. What do you think about Andre Onana? Onana stays, or would you like to sell him in one season?
Yes, it has not been good enough at all, but I would give him one more season.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the manager to change in the summer. I don't want him to change, but I think that it is probably the most likely scenario. So I would give him one more season. And the reason is that, like I said previously, for 4 or 5 years, he has been a top keeper across Europe. He has been one of the best in Europe. So I think he does deserve one more season. If again, next season we are having similar conversations about Onana, then obviously he will unfortunately become one more failed transfer.
What about Harry Maguire? Keep, sell.
I think he has proven a lot of people wrong this season. I think he has come back from whatever kept him very far from his best for the last 2 years, but he has proven a lot of people wrong. He is a good player, but he's probably not at the level that United need. He's getting older, so he's not going to improve now. He's not going to change the things that he's lacking are not going to suddenly appear and be better. So, and also it is one of the big contracts that exist inside the club. So in my opinion, even though he's a good player, even though he would be a good choice to have in the squad, I will let him go to get that money, whatever money we could get from selling him and his contract wages, and put it towards bringing someone that is more suitable to what we want, a bit younger. Yeah, I think it is the best decision to let Harry Maguire leave in the summer, definitely.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Nicholas is saying we need to get Neto from Wolves. I mean, we need to get money first, buddy. I think once we get money,
Exactly.
I think we easy. I think what you said very rightly is to buy players, you have to sell. You can't just keep stockpiling players. So I think Maguire, again, getting old, even at his best, I don't think he's good enough to challenge the biggest teams in England and Europe. So definitely sell for me as well. What do you take on, this is a tough one. What do you take on Varane? On big salaries, but Champions League winner, World Cup winner. Does he stay or does he leave?
Again, for similar reasons to Maguire, obviously a much better player. Obviously, I think at the moment, arguably our best defender when he is fit, but that when he is fit is a big problem. He's very injury prone, unfortunately. Even though he retired from the French national team, he is still unavailable far too often. He's under enormous wages. I think his contract is about 300,000 per week or something like that. So he's one of the top earners at the club at the moment. So again, a player who is getting older and wages that could be used to bring better fits for the club at the moment.
Wan-Bissaka. You keep Wan-Bissaka or let him go?
With Wan-Bissaka, I prefer him to Diogo Dalot. I think he is a better right back to Diogo Dalot. I think that many of the problems that appear on social media in regards to Aaron Wan-Bissaka are a result of aesthetics. Like, he doesn't look good on the eye. He
Yeah,
looks a bit weird when,
yeah.
so exactly. But there were rumors about Saudi team being interested in buying him this January. He only has one more year left on his contract. His contract expires in the summer of 2025. He is still in a relatively good age. So it all depends on what offers will come. I would be not opposed to letting either him or Diogo Dalot leave if the price was good enough. Because I don't think that either of them is good enough. Like you said earlier about Harry Maguire, I don't think either of our right backs is good enough for a team that really wants to seriously challenge for the major titles. I don't think that either of those two players would fit in a Man City, in a Arsenal, a Liverpool, a Bayern Munich. I don't think they have that quality. So I prefer Aaron to Diogo, but I wouldn't be opposed. If a good offer came, I wouldn't be opposed to letting him go because, again, not the quality we need to take the next step, and it would bring money that could be used for a better player.
Yeah, I think for me, this is one place where I probably won't agree with you. I prefer Dalot over Wan-Bissaka purely based on when they move to the attacking third of the pitch. I think Wan-Bissaka, sorry, little hungry there, I ate up my own words. Is a little lackluster, just like my pronunciation of his name. I think if we could somehow combine both of their abilities, Wan-Bissaka's defensive abilities and attacking abilities, I think boom, I think we're sorted. But yeah, again, for the right price, and I think again because of this contractual almost just season left, I think the best would probably sell him as well. Midfield, do you have anyone you'd like to get rid of from our midfield? I think McTominay. What's your take on McTominay?
Yeah. Again, the same situation. A good servant of the club, one of our own, an academy product. He gives absolutely everything he has every time he steps on the pitch. But quality-wise, not what we need for a team that wants to seriously be a title contender.
Yeah.
And I get the argument because people rightly say that, you know what, no team only has superstars. I mean, you're not going to have a team full of world-class players. And if we can remember, teams under Sir Alex Ferguson had players like Nicky Butt, like the Neville brothers. They weren't world-class players. John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher, yeah, exactly. They weren't world-class players, but they were better than what Scott McTominay or players like Scott McTominay are now. So yes, and I do believe that they would be, because he's still, what is he, 26, 27, he's still relatively young. I do believe that there would be teams interested. So again, money in the bank to spend on better players.
And you make 100% profit because he's homegrown. So I think that for me is the most important. Like you said, he's a homegrown player, so every penny made off of him is a profit. I'm guessing you definitely want to keep Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not get the people moaning about Bruno Fernandes. Yes, he is inconsistent. Yes, he has games where he is frustrating. Yes, the moaning can be annoying sometimes. But in my opinion, he has been the most influential player after Sir Alex Ferguson retired. He has been the best signing we have made, and he has been, his numbers, even if he's not playing great, his numbers are phenomenal. Season in, season out, every year. The team could be playing terribly, but he still manages to put numbers in assists, goals, and we have to always remember that many times he is being used in positions or in roles where are not his best roles. He is a number 10 who has been asked to play as a number 8, as a right midfielder, as a winger, as all of these other positions and roles that are not his best. And he still manages to put the numbers in, week out. Yeah, Bruno, definitely a player to keep.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with Bruno, unfortunately, is even though he's supposed to play as a number 10, he's falling back way too much to help out because our defense is so lackluster. I think Scott McTominay ends up running up just to try to score. I think if we do get a good holding midfielder, I actually like what Mainu is doing right now a lot, to be honest. I really like, and then that sort of sets Bruno free, because we've seen that with Amrabat, didn't work out too well.
No.
So I think it's fair enough to say that all of you who want Bruno to leave, just calm down, man. Yeah. What about, this is the big one, and we're going to move on to this player as the last talking point, as well as Rashford. I mean, son of Manchester's had one of the best seasons of his career a couple of seasons ago, and then is just getting from bad to worse for the guy. I think this whole Belfast situation. Let me start by asking, do you keep him or sell him next in the summer?
Rashford, Marcus Rashford, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, even if we wanted to sell him, I don't think that with the wages that he's under now, I can't see how any team would take him, especially after the season he has had now. So I don't think we even have the choice of letting him go. This situation with what has happened in Belfast, I don't know how it's going to be handled. I don't know what is going to happen. It is very frustrating, but I think we have to live with the idea of we cannot sell him. No one is going to get him. No one is going to pay him £350,000 per week. So we will have to find a way to get the best out of him. And I also believe that every season that Marcus Rashford has had good seasons, it has been when we have played a specific type of football. When we have played counter-attacking, like we did under Oli, for example, for most of Oli's period. And that is how Rashford is going to be giving you the numbers and giving you the performances you need out of him. This season, for some reason, we have completely changed that. And if you play like that, you will not be able to get what Rashford can give you on the pitch. We have to find, I mean, obviously no team should be completely focused on one player and play exactly how only one player prefers them to play. But if you want to get the most out of Marcus Rashford, there is a specific style of football that you need to play, and he has been good every time we have played like that. This season we have changed it completely, and it is very obvious. But so to get back to your question, I don't think we have the option of selling him. No one is going to buy him now with those wages and after such a bad season. So hopefully either Erik ten Hag or the next manager will be able to convince him and get the best out of him.
Yeah, we've got Nicholas Trapp who's saying Rashford needs to be managed better from his agent's point of view. To be honest, we blame Erik ten Hag, but a lot of these players need discipline. I do agree with you, Nicholas.
Yes, he has a point.
I think discipline. Yeah, I think discipline is a big part of United's issues right now. Where player power, we saw that with Sancho. We've seen that with a lot of transfers that have come in. We saw that with Pogba. I think United player power is just taking over. You never hear these stories coming out of Liverpool and Man City. I mean, you had massive names who Pep Guardiola said, out you go. Or Klopp sold Coutinho. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than that. So I think that's a very good point Nicholas has made. What do you take on this whole Rashford take on him having a night out? Because first it was said that was Wednesday where he partied, and then he came back, and it's clearly been proved wrong from multiple outlets now that he was out on a Thursday night, took an early morning flight rather than the night flight, and then obviously he's not going to work out. So I mean, I'm still hoping. Look, I tell you what, my take on this is if someone like a PSG comes along, till this happened, I was okay with Rashford going. I thought he can turn it around. But I think it's just tick mark after tick mark. And after this, I think if we don't let him go or at least reprimand him very heavily, every player who does this can turn around and say, you know what, Rashford got away.
Absolutely.
So why am I being pulled up?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I feel exactly the same. Absolutely.
So I think with me, Rashford, I still reckon, I know that PSG are interested. They were at least with big money. Again, bad season for him, but you think a big disciplinary action at least needs to come out of Erik ten Hag? How would you deal with this whole shamble that happened in Belfast?
One positive thing that Erik ten Hag has done consistently is take action against situations where players have not done what they should be doing off the field, either being late for meetings, either not being committed enough in training, like with Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
So I am hoping that the same is going to happen in this occasion. Yes, exactly like you said, I completely agree. He needs to, every situation like that needs to be an example for everyone else. That if you behave in that way, you will get punished, and the team is above everything, and football is above everything. Results on the pitch is above everything. So everyone on the team should be fully committed to winning football games. Nothing else should be more important than that. And that is what I meant earlier with the cultural problems that we've had for years. They have been the main reason for those problems is that football was not the main priority. And Ineos need to make everyone understand that winning football games is the only thing that matters. And everybody should work and behave in order to make sure that winning football games is what we get.
Yeah, and last but not the least, I think this is the last point we'll talk about before I let you go, is best case scenario this season. At the end of this season, what would be the best case scenario for Manchester United realistically?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think that even with the players coming back from injury, even with having more players available, I don't see how we could become better enough to close the 12-point gap that we have with Aston Villa. Aston Villa are fourth at the moment, and they are 12 points ahead of us. So even with the players coming back, I don't see how this Manchester United team can become good enough to close that 12-point gap. So I don't think we'll get top four. Best case scenario, winning the FA Cup, and I still believe that is very difficult with teams like Liverpool and Man City in the competition. Still, I don't think we have what it takes to do that. But football is beautiful because everything can happen, and hopefully we will have a little miracle.
So, yeah, Seb, I think for me it was definitely finishing maybe fifth or sixth, and the FA Cup I think would be ideal. So then we at least get some sort of European football. I know we used to make fun of the conference and the Europa League, but I think that's what times require right now, is just suck it up, buttercup, and just back your team. Mate, this has been amazing, and thank you so much for taking the time out, and hopefully we do this soon again. It was really nice doing this with you. And guys, whoever's joined in, thank you so much. We will be putting this up as a post as well. And thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on. I really enjoyed this, and definitely we should do it again very soon. Absolutely.
100%. Cheers. All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.